So I mean, I think it was pretty rare. I just wanted to ask you, like, why you didn't respond to my messages. You know, I was emailing you, I was calling you. I mean, like you swiped right on me, I swiped right on you, and it was weird that we just didn't, like, we hung out like 7 times. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's safe to say that we were dating at some point. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm just trying to be more like communicative about it. It's hard for me to express. Hello, what's up? It's uncomfortable, isn't it? The silence. Okay, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 5 comic books that I think you should read, that I'm enjoying right now. I'm liking these comics. Some of them are comics that I'm currently rereading, and some that are just like embedded in my brain and I just want to share with you guys. Stuff that's really, really good. All these comics are excellent, and it doesn't really matter. Like, the order I'm reading them in is not important. I think they're equally as... Actually, okay, there's some of them are clearly I like more than the other ones, and you'll probably be able to tell which ones. Anyway, let's jump right into this with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol: The Run, famously done by Grant Morrison in the late 80s. Doom Patrol is about a series of misfit superheroes, and maybe a couple of you have heard about the TV show. I'm not talking about the TV show. I don't know what's going on in there. People keep sending me clips from it, telling me it's great. I don't know, it looks kind of corny to me. I'm not really interested in the live action stuff, but this comic from the 80s was super, super groundbreaking, and it had a bunch of really weird misfit characters like Cliff Steele, Robot Man, Crazy Jane, and my favorite, Rebus, who's probably one of the first gender non-binary characters ever put into a comic book. He's, I guess, Cliff always refers to him as a he. They're definitely a they. Rebus is basically a combination of a fighter pilot, a nurse, and a ultra negative spirit that all get fused into one, and is the person you see with bandages and glasses. There's some fantastic supervillains in that book. For instance, the Scissor Men, the Sex Men, who are a bunch of dudes who run around solving sex-related crimes. Not like violent crimes and stuff like that. It's sort of like someone was watching too much porn and they enter his computer to resolve it or something like that. And my favorite, Mr. Nobody, whose goal is to just create nothingness out of everything. Sandman. Love Sandman. I've talked about it ad nauseum, and I'm going to keep talking about Sandman until you read it. And then after you read it, I'm going to talk about it again. The revolutionary graphic novel comic book series created by Neil Gaiman, Mike Drinkenberg, Dave McKean, and a bunch of other great artists, Kelly Jones. They created a story that was about stories. They created a story about 8 individuals who are pretty much the anthropomorphizations of concepts like dream, death, destiny, despair, and these siblings are living in this world interacting with humans. Dream is the main one, who's the white guy with the hair that you see everywhere. What's interesting about Dream, and I'll leave you with this, is that he looks differently depending on who you are looking in on him. The endless change based on what you look like, who you are. So my favorite version of Dream is Kaikul, who is like the ancient African version of Dream. So it's like if I looked at him, he would look something like this. Black Hole. I have not talked about this book before publicly, but this book is by Charles Burns. Started in '95, ended in 2005, where they collected all the 12 issues. Black Hole is a strange story that is similar to It Follows, because Black Hole is about a rogue, magical, evil STD that these teens contract, and it starts doing stuff like making them like these like giant holes start opening up in their bodies, and like there's teeth inside of them. Some of these kids start growing tails and like weird stuff like horns growing out of their head, and they're still all like exploring their sexuality, so they're passing on these traits to each other, trying to figure out what it means. And there's never really an explanation for where this disease comes from and like that sort of thing, but I'm not really interested in origins and like having a concrete explanation of stuff. Beautiful pen and ink drawings from Charles Burns, which are super meticulous, and he's one of these people who does a lot of hatching, and you can see on the edges it creates a lot of form, and it really looks 3D, even though it's made in a very flat 2D way. Sleeper by Ed Brubaker. For those of you who know Ed Brubaker, he writes criminal, he did Batman, he does a lot of like sort of criminal noir stuff for DC and independent publications. Sleeper is sort of like The Departed, if The Departed had supervillains in it. This guy, the main character, has to infiltrate a group of supervillains, and he goes undercover, right? And then while he's with this group of ragtag supervillains, the only guy who knows that he's a double agent dies. So he's stuck with these supervillains who have super bizarre powers. Like, my favorite one is Miss Misery, and Miss Misery's power is she gets stronger the more evil shit she takes a part of. So like, before they get into a fight, they're about to go into a big battle, Miss Misery is like, oh, hang on, and she sees an old lady crossing the street, just pushes her in front of a bus, and then she's just like she's getting all the energy out of it. Awesome shit. Great powers, great writing, great pacing from Sleeper. There are only 2 volumes in that. Now I'm going to end with Ruins. Ruins is a very special book made by Warren Ellis. There are only 2 issues of this thing, and it's just, the premise is brilliant, and he just gets in and gets out, just hits the shit out of you. Ruins, the concept of Ruins is, what if everything in the Marvel Universe was backwards? What if everything that could have gone wrong in the Marvel Universe went wrong? You know, obviously in the Marvel Universe, like, they talk about multiverses and stuff. So this is a version where Spider-Man gets bitten, and then it just turns him into like a hairy spider and ends up dying. Hulk, and this motif is going to get repeated a lot, so just get ready for this. Hulk gets hit by gamma radiation and just bubbles up and turns into like this giant green pile of goo. Ghost Rider ends up immolating himself and driving off of a cliff, screaming as he's just like burned from the inside out. What other ones? I know this is really nice and fun, but it's a beautiful, beautiful book. I'm trying to think of another one. There's a prison where Kingpin has trapped all of the X-Men, and I remember one of the really creepy scenes was like Quicksilver, like they chopped off his limbs, so he's just in prison and he's just like, he's got like these stumps, and like, so he can't really travel anywhere. It's really, really fucked up. Ruined, great book, not for the faint of heart, but it gets you thinking a little bit like, okay, well, what if it all went poorly? Marvel Elseworlds, Ruined. If you want to read any of these books or cop any of them, use the link below. Cop them through Amazon. I'll get a little taste of it, and it'll be nice. You read, I read, stuff in my pocket, stuff in your pocket. It's very nice, very good. Let me know some of your favorite comics you're reading right now in the show notes below, in the comments below. I'll talk to you all next time.